Hello students, welcome back to AIMS India live sessions, chemistry part. In this session, we are going to discuss about the chapter synthetic fibers and plastics. From this chapter, we are going to discuss about the concept about plastics. So we are having different concepts in the synthetic fibers and plastics chapter. In the earlier classes, we have seen about different types of synthetic fibers. What are fibers, how they are classified, and what are the different kinds of synthetic fibers. We have seen these all. In this session, we are going to see about the plastics, different types of plastics. Plastic is also a polymer just like the synthetic fibers, which can be molded into different shapes. The word plastic originates from the Greek word plastikos, which means that that can be molded or reshaped or de-shaped. So plastics are also polymers like synthetic fibers. Yes, in the previous class we have discussed about the synthetic fibers, as the synthetic fibers are polymers which are made up of so many molecules combined together. Poly means many, mer means a unit or molecule we told. So single molecules, so many, they will combine together to form long chain molecules. These long chain molecules are called as polymers, and that phenomenon is called as polymerization. So how these synthetic fibers are polymers, in the same way these plastics are also polymers. They also contain long chain molecules in them. So because of this reason, they can be reformed. They can be changing their shapes by applying conditions. They can be molded into different nice shapes. So this is because of the polymeric structures of these plastics. Plastic polymers can have different types of arrangement of monomers. We told here polymers are made from monomers. Monomers are single molecules. So many single molecules they will combine to form many molecules are polymers. So in plastics, these formation of polymers will be in different kinds. The monomers are arranged in different structures. We can see here linear polymer means in which all the monomers are linked to one another like a chain in one line. That is called linear polymer. So some plastics are there which are containing branched polymers. Means instead of being only in one line, these monomer molecules will be combined in branches, like branches also. That is called branched polymer. Some are there here. Cross-linked polymers. So we can see here in being a linear polymers are there, and at the middle some cross links are also there between their linear polymers. So in this way, these are cross-linked polymers. One more type is there, that is a network type polymers. So it's like a network. All links are there between the polymeric chains. So in this way, based upon the arrangement of these monomers in the polymers, plastics are of different kinds. Plastics can be recycled and used. Yes, we can. Once if we use certain plastics, we can recycle them. Again, we can use in the different forms. Plastics can be recycled. These can also be melted, rolled into sheets, and made into wires, and can be colored. So these all come under different advantages of plastics over the natural substances, because these plastics, once if we use, again we can use them by recycling, and we can color them with the different attractive colors. We can mold them into different shapes, and we can make them into thin wires, and we can make them to different objects. So these all are coming under advantages of plastics over natural substances. That is why nowadays we are using these plastics in numerous, and even we are replacing most of the natural substances with these plastics. So types of plastics. Mostly the broad categorization of plastics is of two types. They are thermoplastics and thermosetting plastics, two kinds. So based upon, as we have seen earlier, the arrangement of monomers in the formation of polymers, plastics are broadly classified into two types: thermoplastics and thermosetting plastics. So here, what are these thermoplastics? Thermoplastics means the plastics which can be remolded, reshaped and recycled are, are called as thermoplastics. Certain plastics are there which cannot be remolded. Once if the plastic is given a shape, is turned into one tool, that plastic cannot be reshaped or recycled or remolded. Such type of plastics are called as a thermosetting plastics, which can be remolded, reshaped and reused. Can be used are called as thermoplastics. This is just based upon the rearrangement or arrangement of molecules in the formation of polymers. So this is the broad categorization of plastics into two types. They are thermoplastics and thermosetting plastics. Here they have given some examples also for these different types of plastics. We can say thermoplastics example they have given polythene, PVC. These will come under examples for thermoplastics, which we are using in the regular daily life also. PVC pipes we use for pumping of water from one place to another place. And even polythene is broadly used in the form of polythene bags. So these come under thermoplastics because this plastic can be remolded and reused by recycling processes. And some are there, bakelite, melamine. These will come under thermosetting plastics because once these are formed, they cannot be remolded. So these are called thermosetting plastics. These generally used for making of these household utensils, and one can say some sockets of electrical wires and the switchboards. These all are made up of these thermosetting plastics. So in this way, plastics are categorized into two types: thermoplastics and thermosetting plastics. So we are going to see about these elaborate later. Now, as we told, types of plastics. Here are there the two types: thermoplastics and thermosetting plastics. First, let us go through these. What are thermoplastics in detail? As I told, thermoplastics are such plastics which get easily bent or deform on heating are known as thermoplastics. So once if you heat these plastics, they will be melted and they can be redesigned, remolded into different shapes. Such kind of plastics are called thermoplastics. For example, they have given some examples for the thermoplastics here. They are PVC, polyvinyl chloride. PVC means here polyvinyl chloride. This we might have heard this word, PVC pipes in our homes for inserting these electrical wires in the walls and to pump the water from one room to other room, from the tank to taps. They use generally these PVC pipe, plastic polyvinyl chloride pipes we use. This is one of the thermoplastic. And polyethylene, which is also simply we say polythene bags, which we use for carrying these tools, are also coming under thermoplastics because these all can be can be recycled and remolded. You can say these are used in making of toys, bottles, combs, containers, and even for bags, bottles. These all are made up of these thermoplastics. You can say some examples they have shown here. See, some plastic bags. These are made up of thermoplastics, and the tools which we use in the home for domestic purpose will come under thermoplastics. And water bottles, the bottles which are using for preservation of soft drinks, these all come under thermoplastics. They can be remolded. They will melt on heating. Such kind of plastics are called thermoplastics. Second type of plastics are thermosetting plastics. In the name itself it is setting. Once if they are set, we cannot remold them. Thermosetting plastics are such plastics which, when molded once, cannot be softened or deformed by heating, are called as thermosetting plastics. So, certain plastics are there. Once if we mold them and form into one shape or one tool, that cannot be remolded or it won't melt on heating. Such kind of plastics are called thermosetting plastics. Example for them are given here: bakelite, melamine. These all will come under thermosetting plastics. These plastics are used in making hard hard boards, electrical switches, handles of electrical appliances, handles of kitchen utensils, floor tiles, etc. So in these all, thermosetting plastics are used. You can see here hard tools, mostly they are made up of the thermosetting plastic. Handles of cooking utensils, because they should be very hard enough, and electrical plugs and switches, these all are made up of thermosetting plastics. They will be very hard enough, but once if they are made into that form, they cannot be remolded. There's a problem with these thermosetting plastic, but the advantage is they'll be much hard enough like metals, and they won't conduct heat and electricity. That is why they are mostly used in making of these all utensils in electrical appliances, mostly like iron boxes, out body of these outer iron boxes, and electrical plugs, switchboards, and handles of these household utensils like pans of the which we use in homes. So they are all made up of these thermosetting plastics. Melamine is versatile material and poor conductor of heat. It resists fire, thus it is used in making of floor tiles, kitchen materials, fabrics which resist fire. Yes, it is given about melamine here. Melamine. Melamine is one of the thermosetting plastic which is a poor conductor of electricity and heat also, and it resists fire. That is why mostly the jackets or coats which are used by the fire controlling men, firemen we call them, who will try to stop these fires caused by accidents. People will wear certain special coats which are made up of this material melamine, because this melamine is thermal resistant. It won't conduct heat, so that the people will be survived. And even certain kitchen materials, floor tiles, these are also made up of this melamine. Bakelite also is a poor conductor of electricity and heat. Thus, it is used for making electrical switches, handles of various utensils, and other electrical appliances. You can see in the picture they have shown certain electrical appliances. So, which are these all are made up of melamine, either melamine or bakelite. These two are hard plastics which once formed they cannot be remolded, but they are poor conductors of heat and electricity, hence they are having many uses in our daily life. This is about the two types of plastics. First we have seen about thermoplastics. Second one, thermosetting plastics. What is the major difference between these two? Thermoplastics can be remolded. They will melt on heating. They can be reshaped, reused, recycled. But certain plastics are there which cannot be remolded. Once if it is formed, it cannot be reshaped. Such kind of plastics are called as a thermosetting plastics. Both are having different uses. So plastics as materials of choice due to. That means we are using plastic in many ways, in many forms, broadly. So we are taking it as one of the choices for using as materials nowadays. So what are the reasons for this that we are going to see here? Yes, if you see once the picture given here, most of the things which we are using at home are replacing the other natural substances by replaced by plastic nowadays. Why this plastic is having this much of choice to be used? So the main properties of these plastics are like this here. You can see lightweight. Yes, it is lighter than natural materials. Suppose a bucket which we use at home, if it is made up of iron or certain steel and some other alloyed material also will be used, will be having in olden days. So if you carry that, it will be having certain weight, it will be heavy weight. But nowadays we are using or we replace these metallic buckets with plastic bucket, because this plastic bucket will be light in weight. It can be carried very easily. Low price. Yes, it is also one of the important point to choose as plastic as our household material. They are cheaper than the natural materials. If you choose a chair, if you use a iron chair or wooden chair, it costs more. Whereas if you use a plastic chair, it is cheaper than those all. So low price is also one of the important point. Good strength. Yes, they are durable, such like any natural tools. They are also having good strength. Easy handling. Yes, we can handle them very easily because they'll be light in weight. And one of the important points is poor conductors of heat and electricity. Yes, plastics are poor conductors of heat and electricity. They won't conduct electricity. If you use this as electrical appliances or at the fireworks where we are using like cooking and dissolve, there also they protect us from heat and electricity, because these plastics are poor conductors of heat and electricity. So it is also one of the best or important point to replace these natural tools with these plastic materials. Not reactive. Yes, it is also one of the points. These plastic materials are not reactive. That means they won't get rust, just like the metallic objects. If you use certain metallic objects like earlier we told, if a chair is made up of iron, after few years that iron rods in that chair will get starting, they will start getting rusting. They'll be spoiled after few years if you keep them outside. Whereas if you take a plastic chair, even after years of time, it won't get any rust because it is chemically inert. It won't combine with the chemicals present in the atmosphere. So, because plastics are non-reactive, even they won't corrode also, they won't get rust or they won't be corroded. That means they are non-reactive. So, these are all the important points or the reasons we can say to choose as a plastic as our daily using materials by replacing the natural materials. Next, what are the uses of these plastics? And we can see the reason behind the usage of these plastic articles also. Let us see one by one here. First, as I told, buckets are made of plastics nowadays, which we are using. So we can say a plastic bucket is shown here. So earlier days, we were using metallic buckets. So why we are using nowadays plastic buckets means, the reason behind it is plastic buckets are strong, light in weight and do not get rust. Yes, they will be strong like metallic buckets, and even they are very light in weight, which can be carried very easily, and they won't get rust. Most importantly, metallic buckets after a few years they'll get rust and they'll be spoiled. Whereas plastic bucket they won't get rust. They'll be like that even after a few years also. One more important point is they can be colored in the different attractive colors. So because of these reasons, nowadays plastic is making of these buckets and tools. One more point, bakelite plastic is used making of electrical switches. Yes, we told at the starting about bakelite as thermosetting plastic, which is used for making of these switches, plugs and these all. Why? Because the reason behind it is bakelite is a poor conductor of heat and electricity. It won't pass any current through it. So if you observe the switchboards and plugs, inside of those there will be electrical wires connected to them. But when you touch the switch, you won't get any shock. This is because these switches are made up of bakelite, which is a bad conductor of heat and electricity. It won't pass current through it. That is the advantage of using this bakelite as making of these switches and plugs. So bakelite is used as switches because it is poor conductor of heat and electricity. One more, melamine is used to make crockery. Crockery means the household tools, plates, cups, saucers, bowls. These all will come under crockery. These all are made up of melamine. The reason for this is melamine is unbreakable, fire resistant, and tolerates heat better than plastic. Hence, it can be used to make crockery that can hold hot liquids or dishes and served in it. So, melamine can resist the even much heat and temperature also. It won't be melted. As we told, thermosetting plastics won't be melted once they are formed. They cannot be remolded. Even though if you pour hot liquids into that, they won't be reshaped. They won't be melted out. That is why these are used for you serving these all hot food items. Even nowadays we are using ovens, electrical ovens also at home. So in the ovens generally we keep some bowls which are having food items which to be made in oven. So those bowls are generally made of this melamine because this melamine can survive even at a very high temperatures also. So these are the advantages with melamine as being used as crockery at home. Next, let us see. Plastics are used in cars, aircraft, and spacecraft parts. Yes, we can say many of the parts in the cars are made up of this plastic. Even in aircraft and spacecrafts also, some of the body parts are made of these plastics. The reason for this, plastics are strong, durable, lightweight, and corrosion resistant. So there is important reasons for using these plastics in these parts of these cars and aircrafts, even in spacecrafts also. They will be light in weight. Suppose if you see the aeroplane, you should fly in the air. If you use complete metals to make this aeroplane, it will be very heavy. It cannot fly. That is why they use along with certain alloys, most of the plastic body will be used. Plastic materials are used in making of these body parts of aircrafts and spacecrafts. They will be tough enough, strong enough for metallic objects, and they are more durable than these metallic objects because they won't be corroded. They won't get rust even after a few long time usage also. So there are the advantages in using these plastic objects making of parts of cars and aeroplanes. Chemicals are stored in plastic bottles. Yes, if you go ever to a chemical laboratory, if you observe some chemicals stored in the laboratory, mostly chemical substances are stored in plastic bottles and some are stored in glass bottles. Most of the chemicals we can store in even plastic bottles also. Why? How we can store chemicals into a plastic bottle? The reason for this is plastic bottles are light in weight, of course, unbreakable, corrosion resistant, and are resistant to action of chemicals. That means these plastic bottles are unbreakable. Suppose if you have stored certain salt, chemical salt, in a glass bottle, unfortunately it is fallen down. Immediately that glass bottle breaks up into small pieces and the chemical will come up out. It may cause some accidents. Whereas if we store these chemicals in a plastic bottle which is unbreakable, when it fell down, it will be safe enough. That is one reason. Most important reason behind using these plastic bottles for preserving chemicals in the laboratory is they are resistant in the action of chemicals. They won't react with the chemicals which are stored in the bottle. If you use metallic bottles or certain metallic bottles to store these chemicals which are used in the laboratory. These chemicals may react with metals or metal with which that bottle is made. They may form some new chemicals instead of being same. So they may react with the bottle. Instead, if you use these plastic bottles for the preservation of these chemicals, these plastic bottles, they won't react with the chemicals which are there inside. Hence, the chemicals are being safe in the same form. So that is the reason behind to use these plastic bottles for the preservation of chemicals in the laboratories. Not only in the laboratory, we see some pesticide bottles also nowadays which are using to spray on the farms, fields to kill these insects and these are pests. So those pesticides also are stored in plastic bottles because that plastic won't react with the pesticide which is there inside. Plastic bottles because the plastic won't react with the pesticide which is there inside. Okay. Yeah, sorry for the inconvenience, children. A small technical problem. We have come back by resolving that. So let us continue that. We have seen different uses of plastics and the reason behind for using these plastics in these different forms. And at last, here we have stopped some other uses of these plastics in different forms. For example, if you see non-stick cookware, non-stick coating on the cookware is made with a polymer or plastic which is called Teflon. And insulation covering on wires, that is electrical wires we use at homes. There actually the electrical conducting wires will be some metallic wires. These metallic wires are covered with plastic which is called PVC. So PVC is used for insulating these metallic electrical wires to avoid getting electrical shocks. And polythene bags are made up of polythene. So nowadays we are using these polythene bags in a huge quantity. So these polythene bags are made up of a polymer or plastic called polythene. And flame resistant uniforms which are used by fire controlling persons. They use the firefighters, we call them. These firefighters use some special coats or jackets which are made up of a plastic called melamine. So these are the different uses of plastics and the reasons behind them. Now let us see what are biodegradable and non-biodegradable substances. Out of these, plastics are a threat to the environment as it is non-biodegradable. Its disposal is a big problem to the environment because it is non-biodegradable. What is the meaning of this word non-biodegradable? Let us see here. First of all, let us see about biodegradable. Material which gets decomposed through natural process is called biodegradable substance. Means the material which decomposes by the natural actions are called biodegradable substances. Here we can see example, some food waste material and wood, leaves, these all will be decomposed naturally in the nature. So by the natural action, they'll be decomposed. They'll be mixing with the soil there. Such kind of materials which decompose themselves by the natural actions or natural process are called as biodegradable substances. The peels of vegetables, the waste food items, if you throw them, after few days, they will be decomposed themselves. So these are coming under biodegradable substances. There are certain substances which won't be decomposed. Materials which cannot be easily decomposed by natural process are called as non-biodegradable substances. So certain substances are there. Even after a few years also, they won't be decomposed, which won't decompose easily by the natural process are called as non-biodegradable substances. Here are certain, mostly the plastic objects, the plastic tools. These won't be decomposed easily and they won't mix into nature by the natural process. They will take thousands of years of time to be decomposed. Hence, we told at the starting, these plastics are a big threat to the environment. They are causing much harm to the environment. Even though these plastics are having many uses, these are being used nowadays in the daily life in the many forms. These plastic substances won't be decomposed by the natural process even after years of time also. That is why these are very big problem nowadays to the environment. The disposal of these waste plastics is much problem. Plastics and the environment. What relation between them? Let us see. Plastic is a non-biodegradable material. Yes, we said plastics won't be decomposed even after a few years of time also when they are disposed. So they won't be decomposed by the natural processes. That is why we say them non-biodegradable. It takes many years to get decomposed or either does not get decomposed. Yes, few plastic substances may take years of or thousands of years of time to be decomposed, but some are there, they won't decompose at all. They will be in the same form even after years and years of time also. So the disposal of these plastic items is very harmful. Due to non-biodegradable property of these plastics, it is a very major problem for the environment. How do plastics cause environmental pollution? So we are telling these won't be decomposed or these are non-biodegradable. So what happens if we throw these plastic objects into the atmosphere or environment? How these cause pollution to this environment? Let us see. Plastics cause pollution as they are non-biodegradable because we are telling they are non-biodegradable. They will be in the same form wherever you throw them. So they cause pollution in the soil. Even they release toxic fumes when burnt. If you burn these plastic items like covers or bottles, they produce some chemicals or gases which are much toxic. Toxic in the sense they are dangerous. They may cause illness, even sometimes death also. So those gases which are harming us are called toxic gases. So when these plastics are burned in the air or when these plastics are burned in the atmosphere, they produce some harmful gases which are called toxic gases. So in this way, air is being polluted in that area. In this way, they are causing environmental pollution when you dispose these plastic items in the atmosphere, nature, or if you burn those chemical plastics also, they are producing air pollution. 5 R's to minimize the environmental damage caused by plastics. So there are some principles, 5 rules to minimize the pollution or environmental pollution caused by these plastic items. These are simply called 5 R's. What are those? Let us see. So first among them is refuse. Do not buy things we do not need. So don't buy the unnecessary plastic items so that we can reduce plastic pollution. So don't buy the things which we don't need presently. Second one, reduce. minimize the use of plastics in our daily life. Yes, we can minimize the plastic usage in the daily life by planning. Suppose we are going to buy some tools in market like vegetables. If we carry a bag, cloth bag or jute bag, there will be no need of buying any polythene covers at the market. So if you carry bags with you while moving from home to the market, there will be no need of buying these. So we can minimize the usage of plastic in that way. Next one, reuse. If you reuse the items we have already instead of throwing them away. Yeah, yes, we can reuse the plastic items which we have already with us instead of throwing them and buying the new one. Instead of throwing the already existing plastic items with us and buying the new one, we can reuse them because these plastic items won't be spoiled easily. We can use them and by repetitions so that we can stop buying the new things. In that way also we can control this pollution caused by these plastic items. One more is there, repurpose. If you are not using something, alter or change it to use it in a different way. So if we have certain plastic items we don't use now, we are not using them now, we can change the plastic item to some other to use in the different forms. Instead of taking some other new plastic item to use in that reason, we can use already existing plastic items by altering them. So in such a way, in that way also, we can reduce the buying of these new plastic items. Hence, we can help the environment and we can reduce the damage caused by these plastics. One more is there, recycle. Yes, this is one of the important factor which can control the pollution caused by these plastics to the environment. Some plastic waste can be sorted and made into other things in recycling factories. This helps us to reduce our carbon footprint. Yes, certain plastics can be remolded, recycled. Those we call at the starting some thermoplastics. Of course, anyhow, thermosetting plastic they cannot be remolded as we told. But most of the thermoplastics which we are using at our homes in the daily life, they can be recycled. So first they will categorize these in different forms. So those plastics they will melt again and they form new plastic items that we call recycling. They will melt these already existing plastic waste and they form it, they make them into new plastic items. So by that also we can control the environmental pollution caused by plastics. So these are called 5 R's: refuse, reduce, reuse, repurpose and recycle. So these are the 5 R's which are helping us in minimizing the environmental damage caused by plastics. So now let us see about plastics. We have seen already about the plastics. Let us analyze what we have learned in this chapter from the plastics by having some questions based upon this plastic concept. First among them, which is a thermosetting plastic? Here, some plastics are given. Out of these, let us find which is thermosetting plastic. What is thermosetting plastic? At the starting, we discussed about the classification of plastics into two types: thermoplastics and thermosetting plastics. Thermoplastics are plastics which can be reshaped or reused, recycled. They can be remolded. They will be melted on heating. Such kind of plastics are called thermoplastics. Second category, thermosetting plastics. Once they are formed, they cannot be reformed into other forms. They are called thermosetting plastics. Out of the options shown here, if you say, can you try to answer this? Yes, many of you are trying to give the answer. Polythene, polyvinyl chloride, which is simply called PVC, nylon. These three will come under thermoplastics only. Melamine, melamine is the thermosetting plastic which is used in making of these jackets, crockery, jackets used by firefighters. So here correct answer is melamine. It is the correct answer for this. Yes, we told at the starting, crockery used at home are made up of this melamine. It is one of the thermosetting plastic. Next one, let us see second question. The most suitable material for the preparation of handles of cooking utensils. That is the options: polyethylene, nylon, PVC, bakelite. Which is the most suitable material for making these handles of cooking utensils? Can anyone answer this? Is it a polythene, nylon, PVC, or bakelite? Yes, anyone can. PVC means here polyvinyl chloride. Yes, the correct answer is bakelite. You are right. Yeah, many of you are trying to give correct answer. Yes, it is bakelite. Bakelite is correct because it is one of thermosetting plastic which is thermal resistant. It won't pass the heat through it. So even though the bowl or cooking bowl, even it is heated on the stove, it won't pass the heat through it. So if you handle, the handle is made up of this bakelite, we can handle that also. We can handle that easily without getting any heat. So bakelite is the correct answer. You can see all the household tools are shown here. For these all bakelite handles are there. These can be handled even after keeping on the stove also because it won't pass heat through it. When the bowl is very hot, this won't be much hotter. So bakelite is correct. Next question. Plastic bags are generally made from which plastic? Yes, plastic bags are made of which plastic they are asking? PET, polythene, bakelite, or melamine? Which is the correct answer? Plastic bags are made of, yeah, we say polythene bags. So in the name it is a polyethylene. Polythene say simply. Polythene is the plastic which is used in making of this plastic covers, plastic bags. Polyethylene it is called simply. Chemical it is polyethylene or polyethylene. Commonly we are calling as polythene, polythene bags. So B is correct answer. Next question. What can we conclude from circuits shown in the following figure? See here the two circuits are shown. In one circuit, bulb is glown. In one of the circuits, bulb is not glown. If you observe, in one circuit, metallic object is used to close the circuit. In a second circuit, plastic object is used for closing the circuit. So the circuit in which metallic object is used, the bulb is glown. In the circuit, plastic object used, bulb is not glown. Now, what conclusion we can give based upon these two circuits? Let us see options given. Metals can conduct electricity. Is it correct? Second one, plastics are poor conductors of electricity. Metals and plastics both can conduct electricity. Both A and B are correct. That means metals are conductors, good conductors. Plastics are poor conductors. So what will be the correct answer for this? What can we conclude? Actually, they are asking what conclusions we can give based upon the circuits given here. So in one circuit, bulb is glown. In the second circuit, bulb is not glown. In the first circuit, where bulb is glowing, metallic object is used. In the circuit where bulb is not glowing, their plastic object is used. From the circuit pictures, we can conclude that, yes, You can try giving answer with the live chat. Many different answers are we getting. So first of all, let us say in this circuit, metallic object is used and bulb is glown. From this you can say this metallic or metal rod is passing electricity through it. So that circuit is closed, hence bulb is glown. So metals are good conductors of heat and electricity. This is correct one. Metals can conduct electricity. Second one, in this plastic rod or plastic object is used to close the circuit. But here bulb is not glown. From this you can say electricity is not passed through this plastic. Hence plastics are poor conductors of electricity. So this is also correct statement from which is given as conclusion. Next one, metals, plastics both are conductors, but we came to conclude that plastics are poor conductors. So only metals are good conductors. So this will be wrong answer. Now what will be correct answer, children? Yes, D is correct answer because metals are conductors, plastics are poor conductors. Next last question. Which of the following articles is made by using only man-made substances? Let us see here the objects given. A hat, spades, shoe, gloves. If you observe these ones, the object which is made up of only plastic items or only man-made substance they are asking. If you see the hat, it is made up of a cloth or it might be prepared from certain natural objects like cloths, wool or cotton or jute also will be used in making of hats. If you say shoe, if you observe clearly there are leather shoe. Leather is a natural object, natural substance which we get from the dead animals and is all. So shoes are made, of course some pins or buttons are made by man-made materials, but and these ropes or shoelace are made up of nylon which is made man-made, but some natural material also there in the shoe. If you see these gloves, these are seems like woolen gloves. Wool is a natural existing substance which is obtained from hair of these some animals like sheep and egg, these all. So but if you observe the second option, it is specs which is made up of completely plastic. So plastic and even these optics, these glasses are made up of glass item, optic we call optics. So these are man-made material. Completely these specs are made up of man-made substances, whereas the remaining three are containing either man-made or natural substances. But we cannot prepare these specs by using any natural material. Compulsory we have to use either plastic and even glass also. Both are man-made substances only. So the correct answer is B. So this is about the plastics and the categorization of plastics into thermoplastics and thermosetting plastics, and we have seen different uses of plastics also. Okay, thank you for watching our video. Please subscribe our channel and visit our website www.aimstoday.in to for latest updates and recorded videos. Recorded videos means if anybody of you missing these live sessions, you can watch these recorded videos in our website and even our YouTube channel also. That is Aims Today YouTube channel, and the aimstoday.in website also we can watch our recorded versions of these videos. Thank you.